Rev up your engines. If you're disgusted with the high price of new work trucks, check this out. A 3500 Silverado, $88,855. And maybe used is sounding better and better and better. Now I got so many people coming to me, Scotty, I need a work truck. These new ones are getting to be so expensive. They got so much technology in them. You can go like my grandson and buy used. 3500 dually, and it is 4-wheel drive. Look at the size of that bed. This baby's got the monster 8.1 liter V8 gasoline engine. These days, if people are buying new, I tell them don't buy the Silverados. If you want to buy a GM product, get a GMC 2500 or 3500. Those are still pretty well made. And it does say it's only got 88,935 miles on it. Well, how can you believe that, right? You can't always believe that. I mean, hey, if it's real, hey, this truck's still got a lot of life left in it. Now, as I rev up the engine, it sure sounds like it might only have that amount of miles on it. You can hear a little noise, but it's got an exhaust leak, probably on a manifold, not that big of a deal in a work truck. And this is Tennessee, they don't do emissions testing. You might not even have to fix it if you don't want to. Something tells me so far that it's probably real. You can see it's got a mount for a snow plow, so it could have been used only in the winter for snow plowing and not much else. And when I look under the hood, it looks like this vehicle indeed did sit an awful lot. There's a lot of superficial rust. Nothing that really means anything. These old mats are great. The wife thinks they're dirty, but they're great for working. We can say frame is still solid as a rock. We can see the rocker panels, okay? They've rotted away, but that's just superficial. You can easily cut them off and weld new rocker panels on, paint them black or whatever you want to do. It's no big deal. This is what you worry about, and the frame is solid as a rock. This has a 5-speed Allison automatic transmission. These 5-speed Allisons are excellent transmissions. They can do a lot of towing. Hooked up to this 8.1 liter engine, they are pretty good transmissions. They're not like this modern nonsense where they call them branded. I guess GM had a deal where originally they owned Allison. Allison bought themselves back, but one of the deals was they allowed GM to make transmissions themselves, but called them Allison branded. This is not Allison branded. This is an actual Allison transmission. We'll give it a road test when I'm done checking everything out, but I drove it over here and it was shifting perfectly fine. And I started it up ice cold on a 40-degree morning. That's one gigantic tip when you're buying a used truck or any used vehicle. You want them ice cold, start them up. They might run like crap when they're cold, shift like crap when they're cold. I got this thing this morning. My grandson's still sleeping. I found his keys and brought it over here, right? So I get the truth from the machine, not it's warmed up. You check one out, it's already warm, put your hand under the hood, tell them, oh, you want to check it out when it's cold. You don't want to check it out when it's warm. Might have a lot of problems. Might make engine noises, might shift poorly when it's cold. You want to check them out cold so you get the true picture, because if you buy it, you're going to be starting it up cold. If it's got a problem, you'll kick yourself in the head for buying it in the first place. Now, you'd be nuts to buy a vehicle like this without having a guy like me check it out. In this case, we're using my giant Autel. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. So let's see if the odometer's real, okay? It says 88,935. So it's great. It's got hot function. One is odometer. So we'll look at the odometer reading. And what does it say? It says 143,128 kilometers. Wait a second. That says 88,935 miles. Well, according to Google, that is 88,935 miles, so check it out. It is the real mileage. You wouldn't believe the amount of times I had discrepancies between the odometer and what the computer says. This matches, so indeed. Somebody used it somewhere as a snowplow in the winter. It sat around a lot, not being used over the years. A lot of times, people don't use the trucks to their full extent. And if you can get one with lower mileage, that's a solid frame like this, so what if the rocker panels are rotted out? You can weld new ones on, have somebody else do that. It's no big deal. The frame itself is solid. I'll do an auto scan, and I'm sure there's going to be problems. It's an old vehicle. I can see that the airbag system had a code sticking up and crazy stuff like that. The classic truck 2 seats, no back, but a giant bed. It's a serious work truck. And yeah, it's got tent city going on because it's old. Somebody stuck a couple tacks in to help hold it up. That's typical. Now, I realize my grandson got this as a work truck because his Toyota's pushing 300,000 miles, and he's worried about towing heavy vehicles. This vehicle is much better for towing than a Tundra is because it's got the big 8.1 liter engine, and it's a dually. It's got 2 sets of wheels on the back. It's going to be better for pulling loads. And it's got 32 trouble codes. People might say, oh, never mind. But almost all of them are the body control module. So first we'll look at the powertrain. The knock sensor is low frequency, right? You can put a knock sensor on the engine or not. Doesn't matter. This runs perfectly fine, and it's in Tennessee. There's no emissions testing, so you don't have to worry about failing because some dumb sensor isn't working right. You could replace them if you wanted. Who cares? He's not going to replace it. But if you lived where there was inspection, you'd replace the knock sensor. You can buy the sensor, do it. It's not that hard of a job. If you want to pay a mechanic like me, the book says that it's a $164 job. So, now, not that much money anyways, but you really don't need to do it if you live in a non-emissions area. The body control module. There's a whole bunch of codes in there. We'll see what crazy codes are up. They're going to be flying on the screen soon. Now it's got a bunch of squirrely codes. Horn relay, headlamp circuits, parking control, La security system, data link, lost communication with TCM, blah, blah, blah. The airbag system. Well, the seat belts are still here. They snap on fine. And I, for one, would not trust a 19-year-old GM product to have airbags that are going to work and save my life. I will keep the seat belts buckled up. It's a big, giant truck. Pretty safe inside. That stuff, you want to spend a bunch of money fixing the airbag, yeah, that's going to cost you some money. There's no arguing that. But as a work truck, he's not going to care. He's not going to mess with that stuff. It says here, service airbag. An airbag system on this, okay, we erased the codes, but it still has a history one, which you're going to see. You're going to keep the history. It won't erase the history unless you actually fix it and then drive it, and it'll reset itself if you fix the problem. Last one, driver door module, like we're even going to care about that. Last 2, data link malfunction for the driver's door. Well, hey, the windows go up, down. The electric door locks don't work. Ooh, you're going to have to do it manually. What do you expect? It's a GM. Their electronics are crap. But the door's still open and closed. You just have to mechanically lock them and unlock them. That system's gone out too. Now that we got it up and running, we'll check live data here. Different things to look at. So let's start out with misfires. We got no misfires on any of them. So look, that's fine. 0, 0, 0. Means the engine's running good. Now we'll look at fuel trim. Short term is 0. Short term bank 1 is 0. Short term bank 2 is 0, went 1, now it's back to 0, 1%. That's almost perfect. 0 is perfect. So, sure leads me to believe that it's only got 88,000 miles on the thing. The fuel trim's almost perfect. It's not shaking. I can feel it running smoothly. We can see there's no problems. There's no shortage to voltage. So it's time for a road test. Now I realize, yeah, it's got all that wacky electronic stuff that doesn't work perfectly, but the turn signal work, all that stuff. And, hey, so brand new one's 88 grand. My grandson's buying this thing for like $5,500. Hey, with only 88,000 miles on it, so far, it's looking like a pretty good deal. You know, it's high up in the air. And we'll come to a stop. Does it shake? No. That big 8.1 liter engine is smooth as can be. You could barely feel it shift gears. So that really leads me to believe that it only does have 88,000 miles on it. It doesn't lag, drag in gear, or clunk. It's still extremely smooth. And yeah, the shocks are kind of worn and bouncing around quite a bit because they pretty much look like the original ones. All right, you can put those on when you want, or you can drive around bouncy-wouncy. Brakes work perfectly fine, no pulling, no grinding. As I drive down the road, I don't hear any wheel bearings roaring. They're all perfectly fine. No, it's not a racing truck. It's mainly a hauling truck, but there's nobody behind us. So let's stop and let's go. Hey, it's burning out. Like I say, it goes. It's not a racing truck. It's a big, heavy truck, but it's made for pulling. And my grandson wants something that he can tow his trailer with when he picks up cars. So, it's got plenty of grunt for that. Lots of torque. No clanging, no piston knock. Hey, this thing's in pretty good shape. Goes down the road straight, doesn't particularly track bad. It's a big giant truck. Now, of course, it's pretty much a gas hog. You're going to get about 10.5 miles a gallon on the highway to this thing. That is just how it goes. They use a lot of fuel. That's why they're work trucks. They're not for penny pinching people that want a truck to drive around and gets good gas mileage. Man, my grandson does get about 14 or 15 on his Tundra, but that's when he's not towing. This has an 8.1 liter engine. This thing could tow a lot of weight a lot better, and it won't make the gas mileage go down as fast as it will in the Tundra when he's pulling heavy loads. Because when my grandson tows, say, a car that he just bought with this big trailer using the Tundra, hey, he's only getting 7-8 miles a gallon when he's at highway speeds pulling it. So if you're looking to tow stuff, this thing is made for towing. And it all kind of makes sense that, hey, this thing's got 88,939. It's 19 years old. So just like the previous owner who probably used it for plowing or something, my grandson's going to use it for towing vehicles. You don't tow vehicles every day. You find one that you want to fix and sell, you drive someplace and pick it up. You don't do it, 365 days a year. So really, all things considered, if a brand new one's $88,000, you can pick up something like this for less than $6,000. With the low mileage it has, pretty good idea if you ask me. Pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, the end of decent made Silverado pickups. The new ones, I don't like them. A lot of Mexican parts on them. They got engine problems, transmission problems. This wasn't made in Mexico, it was made in the United States, and it's still held up after all these years. So hey, a nice towing rig. Yeah, you're going to spend money on gasoline. Towing things takes a lot of energy. That's why electric trucks will never make the grade with towing. The batteries would have to be huge. They couldn't go very far. That's all you got to do is keep throwing gasoline in it. That's all. And it'll get you where you're going, towing what you want. Maybe you'll use it to tow electric cars with. Who knows? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.